Dahua Cloud Managed Switches, facilitate networking, all into the one product stop. And there we go. Okay, let's roll forward. In today's presentation, we're going to be talking about the new range, and we have it in two blocks. We will do an introduction covering the pain points that customers are facing, what Dahua's new range offers, the product and functions and features, and then the specific applications as well with this new particular range. So before we click on the first slide, let me paint a scenario. You are an installer, you are a system integrator. Congratulations, your experience in putting together CCTV system. I congratulate you, Dahua, congratulate you on this particular example where you scored a project that you have secured a large number of cameras, say for example, 30, 40 cameras. You've got your Dahua NVR and you have used a number of switches to connect the additional cameras beyond the 16 PoE ports on the back of that particular NVR. So you've utilized a number of PoE switches at this remote site. Let's say, for example, this remote site is about 100 kilometers away from your normal operation center point. Now, for this particular project, you have used unmanaged switches. You have now just received an alert from that particular client, from your end user, that they've lost supervision of a number of cameras. Because you've used unmanaged switches, unfortunately, the only way to tackle the troubleshooting is to get in your vehicle and travel the 100 kilometers to rectify the problem and get the system, the CCTV system, back up and working all over again. Well, this is where you should now ponder of using managed switches, and even more important, to use a switch system that has an application, a cloud-based application, a web-based application that would allow you to access everything to do with that system, particularly the cameras on the separate PoE switches, to be able to control the system, troubleshoot, and restart the system without needing to travel that distance there. This is exactly what we are offering with the new Dahua Cloud Managed Switches. So let's go into the very, very first slide under the introduction. The pain point that the customers currently have with conventional available switches on the market is the deployment, the configurations, the monitoring, the diagnosing of the problem. It's troublesome to deploy a heavy toolbox from site to site. The configurations can be very, very complex via web, especially if you're doing it through command line interfaces. To monitor, it's very hard to monitor the networking status in real time. And furthermore, diagnosing, troubleshooting, these are high costs related to all that in locating and fixing the problem, especially when you need to travel from one side to the other. So what do the Dahua Cloud Switches offer you? We offer you deployment. Your device will illustrate the topology via the app, via the web interface. You can configure, you will be able to configure the connected devices remotely, providing the full various management features. The maintenance, through that topology, through the data dashboard, the real-time alarm and health diagnosis is available to you to entrust that your devices will have a trouble-free service. On top of that, we're also delivering the new PoE 2.0 from Dahua, which includes what's marked on the actual physical Dahua switch itself, a red port. That red port on each PoE 2.0 unit will deliver 90 watts of power, a PoE watchdog, and a long distance capability of that, but more in a moment. Through the function, the DoLink Care app can do a number of things, which we will split into these 4 categories. the quick deployment, the hassle-free configuration, the efficient maintenance, and as I mentioned before, the PoE 2.0 features. The quick deployment. Under quick deployment, we have a unified platform, easy device addition, and topology. Let's take a close look at this. The user can remotely operate either via web or via the integrated app, not only the switch, but also each IPC camera, each PDZ, each recorder, let it be an NVR or an XVR. Its alarms, bringing you total convenience and conventional operational procedures. The various status on the site device list is clearly available on the web device or the app itself. The DualLink Care can be accessed via both web and app to help customers manage their solutions better. The systems integration, targeting client for systems integration, installation, the alarm receiving center, and the project maintainer. Easy device addition. Just by simply scanning the QR code, you can add a device. Of the app, you open up the scan feature, the device password, the device has now been added to your system. DualLink Care automatically identifies all the connected devices, again, including all such devices as the switch itself, the IPC, PDZ, NVR, or XVR, listing the full compatibility list of all the devices on that particular system. Hassle-free configuration. We will give you remote configuration of all this. Abundant management features, one-stop configuration. Let's take a close look at these. Remote configuration. Tap to reboot and reselect the switch. Restart a port. Tap to reboot and select the actual port. On the right-hand side of the screen there, you will see exactly what the DualLink Care window looks like. The backup switch configuration, click to save a backup or restore a particular configuration. Change the device password of the selected device. Configure the configuration speed, the duplex operation of that particular device. Configure the speed and duplex setting selected in that particular configuration window once you've selected the relevant port. The abundant management functions. Under VLAN, create a virtual network to isolate the traffic for the different groups of devices. The spanning tree protocol. Applying STP will prevent loops within the network topology. You can use link aggregation. It provides you with loop protection, and as part of the IEEE, the Energy Efficient Ethernet Standard, which is designed to reduce power consumption or idle links during power link utilizations, giving you maximum flow control, so as you can configure the traffic threshold of that selected port. Efficient management. The data dashboard will allow you traffic monitoring, giving you port speed and bandwidth utilization for each port speed, for each controlling whether the port is being overloaded or not. You can then check each peer device information, directly checking the information of that connected port. Topology management. You can configure the switch accordingly, see the device information, see the relevant errors for each device. Once again, I'm spelling out each device, meaning the switch, the IPC camera, and the recorders themselves. Reboot device on the topology itself, and live view of each PC on that particular topology. Real-time alarm. Check alarm messages immediately. There on the left-hand side of the screen, there is the device error list. Each type of alarm is clearly visible at each selected port of each selected device. One-click health diagnosis is available through this DualLink Care app. Simply with one click, you can check all the devices on that site, providing professional guidance for the most important thing, the troubleshooting of that system. Encrusted servers. When the system is configured, installers deliver the system to hand over devices control to the end users. To regain access of the devices, installers apply for permission so that they know that you're accessing the system by receiving the permission from the end user first, so that you can monitor on site 24/7. Now, the last section, the PoE 2.0 features. It offers you a PoE watchdog to enable the switch to automatically detect the port status and restart the faulty camera to recover the connection. All this obviously remotely. That red port that I mentioned before, complying with the latest international standard, the 802.3 BT standard, it can deliver up to 90 watt of PoE power. The switch can deliver through our extended PoE features up to 250 meters. That's long distance transmission, breaking the common 100-meter rule that is commonly known through Cat 5 to Cat 6. Mind you, when you're reaching that long distance, the bandwidth is reduced to approximately 10 watt, but that's still sufficient power to power one IPC at that particular distance through that particular port. Connected port would maintain stable power supply during a soft rebooting, including web reboot, importing configuration and upgrades. So the released available selected models that are available right now through your friendly Dahua distributor, through your friendly Dahua reseller, there are a range of 4 ports, 8 ports, 16 ports, and 24 ports. Starting off my left-hand side from the very, very first one, the D8 CS4006 4ET60. Those numbers, by the way, those numbers in the part number, if you know the Dahua naming rule, actually tells you what the Dahua product does. The 4 digits, 4006, the last 2 digits, 06, are the available ports. And then they're split up into 4 and 2. 4 PoE ports, including the red port, and the 2 GE, meaning the uplink ports, the fiber ports as well. The 4 ET refer to the PoE ports, and the -60. The -60 is very, very important to you because it summarizes the PoE budget. It summarizes the PoE budget of that particular device. So on the left-hand side, if I'm looking at the 4006 4ET60, I can deliver 60 watts of power spread over those particular ports. At the next unit, the CS4010 8ET is telling you that it's a 8 PoE port machine with a total of 10 ports, 8 ET, and a 2 uplink port, and fiber and fiber connection. And then it's 110. That 110 or 110 is the PoE budget of that particular device. Then coming to the 16 PoE port machine, we've got 3 available machine, 135 watts, 190 watts, and 240 watts. And at the very, very far end, we have 240 watts and 375 watts. So what's available is the 4 ports, 8 ports, 16 ports, and 24 ports available right now. But it doesn't end there. We have plans for future addition to the product range. Just clicking on to the next slide now. So the products, more models in the plan, 4 ports, 8 ports, 16 ports, to 24 ports, or specific L2 switches. That's layer 2 plus switches, industrial switch and hardened switches. Those means hardened switch and industrial switch, if you've never come across those before, those are particular switches for heavy duty application, especially in the Victorian heat lately. We just ran through a heat wave of mid 30s and high 30s environment, if it's 30 degrees out there and you've got a switch into an enclosed metal box, that switch could possibly go up to 50 plus, 60 plus temperatures. You need to make sure that the switch that you're employing for that particular project, for that particular system, and withstand those high temperatures. Well, that's what industrial switches, the hardened switches, are capable of doing, including wireless devices in the DHWBCS90AC, and enterprise routers are all coming very, very soon in our models coming up the plan. Let's quickly look at some of this application. Where can you add some of these devices to? Just clicking on the next slide, waiting for the next slide to come up. So typical surveillance scenario. Let's look at on the left-hand side, the physical connection. So you have a topology there. You have cameras connected through IPC going directly to a recorder, and the ones that for the more products coming through in a little while, with wide compatibility among Dahua switches, IPCs, PDZs, NVR, and XVR. Dahua provides a smart surveillance solution designed for small and medium scenario that the cloud managed switches play a huge bridge across all the devices, suitable for mansions, suitable for shopping mall, suitable for warehouses, for industrial parks. That network topology on the right-hand side shows you the switchboard via an APC2, a turnkey test with various switches, with various NVRs, going also all the way to our DSS Pro application as well. Clicking on to the next slide for what's coming up into the future. The future roadmap. More applied scenario. Currently, our products meet the need of your typical surveillance scenario. Having a look at that middle white block into the middle of the screen at the moment, you got IPCs, you got PDZs, you got your average camera going into PoE switches, to a cloud managed switch, to the NVR, to then the DurLink Care platform that allows you to remotely manage that off switch. That is the first generation. Growing to the second generation, a larger system, an outdoor system. Have a look at the next white block. You've got the hardened or industrial switches going to a fully managed PoE switches on the side, to possibly a switch needing cameras via a wireless bridge. Then the whole system going to the one aggregation switch, taking the video stream from all the additional switches, routing back to the NVR, going onto the remote platform, monitoring the whole system through the DurLink, once again via the app or via the web application. An in-plan for 2024 is all the way to an enterprise router, going to the total offering for small, taking you from small business application right up to industrial and right up to corporate. So running along the very, very bottom of that screen, surveillance scene for outdoor, industrial park, shopping mall, hotel. It doesn't matter how big your system will grow to. You have a solution in the Dahua Cloud Managed Switches, including enterprise router, allows you to manage every device on that system, every IPC, every switch, every recorder, regardless if it's an XVR or an NVR. Why would you want to tackle a project, especially a remote project, a multi-camera project? It could be 30 cameras, it could be 50 cameras, it could be in the hundreds. Why would you want to cater for that for a system that you do not have cloud-based full remote management and connectivity? Just the troubleshooting as well, just the management itself is enough to give you total control of the whole system. Just by packaging what Dahua can deliver via the DoLink Care app is enough during your pitch presentation to your potential end user in the future to tip the balance towards your quotation, because you'll be offering your client total remote control, total remote management of the system from anywhere in the world. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for attending. This is the very, very last show, or last slide of the presentation. Once again, I remind you to stay online if you have a question you would like to present us with a question. We have a whole technical team sitting on standby, ready to read your question and apply an answer to. We will also be editing today's presentation, repackaging it, and uploading it to our Dahua Technology Australia YouTube channel. So anyone in Australia, anyone in New Zealand, anyone in the world wants to catch up on our particular presentation, you can refer them to it. Maybe